introducing a new large language model from the Stable Diffusion company. Actually, we're not talking about Stable Diffusion itself, but rather their Stable Code Instruct 3B model. That's a 3 billion parameter large language model created by Stability AI. Now, their company is extremely popular for their AI image generation model, Stable Diffusion. But today, we're discussing their large language model, the Instruct 3B. Well, although it's a relatively small large language model in terms of file size, that doesn't mean it's not good. In fact, they've primarily focused on training these models for coding. Particularly, they've trained it for JavaScript, Python, Java, C++, and Go. That's the main focus for the programming languages trained into this large language model. However, we can also use this model for SQL, PHP, and Rust as well. Based on their technical report, they've tested running this large language model to generate code across various programming languages. Now, as you can see from their benchmarking test report, the Stable Code Instruct 3B outperforms models like StarChat, DeepSeed Coder, and CodeLama, all of which are relevant competitors with similar model sizes within the 7 billion parameter range for small large language models. But the stable code model outperforms them across all these programming languages, especially in Python and Java. As you can see, it vastly outperforms the other large language model competitors in those areas, as well as C++. It's really outperforming them. Now, we can test this model on their Hugging Face page. They have a testing page set up there as well, but the cloud server are busy sometimes. So if you want to run it in stable way, you can download the files from the tab at the top of the menu. There are two different versions available, the 3BQ4 and 3BQ5, which are quite similar. You can right-click the download button below to grab either of those files which are below 2 gigabytes in size. Once downloaded, you can run it locally on your machine. The most basic simple method for using it is through the LM Studio. With LM Studio, you can download their large language model, as I've shown in previous videos on how to install LM Studio and download any open source large language models from Hugging Face. So yeah, it's really a handy small model at just under 2 gigabytes in file size. Just like a little tool you can use to generate coding across various programming languages it's trained on, like JavaScript, Python, C++, PHP, and so on. We can test that right now on the Hugging Face demo page. It's labeled there as the Chat Model Stable Code 3B. I've tested one example already. Basically, I asked the AI to create a landing page for my mobile app that generates animations using generative AI. These mobile apps will be available for iOS and Android, called Dancey, mainly focused on people creating short dance video clips and generating enhanced animation effects, with all animations generated by the generative AI itself. Once I input that text prompt or set of instructions, the AI generated a very clean, styled HTML landing page for me. And as you can see here, it's working. I've pasted that code into an online HTML editor, and you can check the preview section. It includes all the information I provided in a very clean landing page style, although there's no color or images yet since the HTML was just generated without any CSS styling. Although we could further enhance this HTML landing page if I give an additional prompt to edit it, adding more CSS styles for the landing page, and so on. For example, I could do something like add JavaScript functions to pop up a screen prompting the user to download the mobile app from the iOS App Store or Android Google Play after the landing page loads for 10 seconds. I've further enhanced it here, adding JavaScript that will pop up saying, "Thank you for visiting. To continue using this app, we recommend downloading from the App Store for iOS or Google Play for Android," and shows download buttons. One really handy thing it did was include conditional logic to detect if the user's agent is iOS or Android, and based on the mobile operating system, it will show different redirect links. So if you're on iOS, it goes to the App Store link. If Android, it redirects to the Google Play link. Yeah, so this will be delayed to show up after 10 seconds, which is pretty cool. So far, it makes sense for simple, handy functions you might require added, and let's say based on the landing page, we can add more CSS styles as well. Okay, let's try based on the mobile app landing page. Add some CSS styles to the HTML. So now we have some CSS styles being generated for the header. I haven't given any color combinations or specifics for the CSS, it's just generating the styles itself. Giving styles for the header, we can try previewing this on the landing page. Let's copy this. So now we have more styles for the footer and header with black background colors. Let's also try for the class CTA, create button styles for those links. Hmm, got an error there. Maybe the server is too busy. Let me try that again. Still timing out. I've tested it a few times on the Hugging Face demo page, and it keeps throwing an error. Seems their server is overloaded. By the way, I've checked that you can also download and install the Stable Code 3B model locally using LM Studio or CodeLama. Rather than testing on the Hugging Face demo, you can just copy and paste the model name, search for it in LM Studio, or run a command in CodeLama to download and run it locally. This is pretty handy. And so far from what I've tested in the chat, it makes sense for basic programming tasks, the JavaScript, CSS, HTML fundamentals. It's able to handle simple text prompts or instructions and provide reasonable results. Based on this landing page prototype, I could further enhance it, create images for buttons, set color backgrounds, and so on. It's not a single straightforward answer. You can get creative and build upon this base it generates. Like if you have specific colors for your app's logo, you can incorporate that. So yeah, check it out, guys. It's a small language model size-wise, but it's very handy for generating small functions or code snippets instantly with text prompts. It can't create entire software systems or apps by itself from simple prompts, but it's useful for helping with those smaller tasks. That's it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day. Bye.